Space, the final frontier. Ever since we have stood on two legs, we have wondered, what's out there? The earliest known records of astronomy was in 4000 BC, Mesopotamia. They built great observatories called ziggurats to look at the sky and keep track of time. They were the original creators of the zodiac, at first starting with 4 and ending with 12. The Egyptians started to record the stars about the same time that the Mesopotamians did. They used astronomy to record when the Nile would flood. They also used it to align their buildings. The Chinese used astronomy to keep track of time. They tracked many comets, meteors, and guest stars. They also recorded 900 solar and 600 lunar eclipses over 2,600 years. A Greek astronomer called Thales correctly predicted a solar eclipse. Stonehenge is a collection of stones found in the middle of an open field. No one quite knows what their purpose is, but people have theorized. Pythagoras was a Greek astronomer who made a model of the solar system. They were the first to assume that all celestial objects were circular and that they all moved in a circular motion. The Babylonians were able to track and predict the planets. They believed that celestial objects affected the Earth, and thought it was important to predict them. A famous Babylonian astronomer was Aristotle, who reasoned that all motions in the universe must be circular due to the fact that it is the only shape that goes on forever. He also proved that the Earth was a sphere instead of flat, due to how the shadow of the Earth hit the moon. Aristarchus proved how to find the distance from Earth to the moon and the sun, and used this to also find distance from the Earth to the stars. The Eratosthenes discovered a new method to measure how big the Earth was through geometry. Hippocrates discovered a new way to find the brightness of different stars. The Mayans used astronomy to predict events such as winter, spring, summer, and fall. They made a calendar so precise, it was down to a couple of seconds of how accurate it was. Ptolemy was another famous astronomer in history. He made a geocentric system for the solar system that made sense. The Arabs and Muslims were the first civilization to build an observatory. However, they mainly did it for timekeeping. Pinckert was the first to suggest a heliocentric system. However, nobody at the time believed him. Brahe was a lifetime observer of the cosmos, and he was the first to give solid evidence that the heliocentric system was true. Galileo was the inventor of the modern telescope, and with it, he proved the heliocentric system. He also discovered several moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Kepler was another astronomer in the early Renaissance. His greatest achievement was discovering how the planets around the sun moved. Isaac Newton is probably one of the more famous astronomers. He was famous for discovering the laws of motion and the inner workings of gravity. Edmund Halley was the first astronomer ever to discover that comets in fact revolve around the sun much like planets do. Although Albert Einstein was not technically an astronomer, he still contributed greatly to astronomy in modern day due to his theory of relativity and finding the universal speed limit for all things with mass. Niels Bohr was the first man to create a model of the atom and also contributed greatly to the quantum theorem. Wolfgang Paul was a pioneer in aviation physics and discovered the exclusion principle. Werner Heisenberg contributed to many theories throughout his lifetime and also was a pioneer in quantum mechanics. Edwin Hubble made many contributions to extragalactic observations, all the way to the point where he even had a telescope named after. George Lemaitre was a famous priest who also theorized the Big Bang Theory. Robert Oppenheimer made the first prediction on quantum tunneling theory and contributed greatly to neutron stars and black hole theory. Julius Oppenheimer created the atomic bomb. However, after being blacklisted by our government, he devoted his life to the research of neutron stars and black holes. Fred Hoyle was an English astronomer, and though he was ridiculed for his disbelief in the Big Bang Theory, he did come up with the theory of stellar nucleosynthesis. In 1965, a group of scientists named Penzias and Wilson both discovered what is called today background radiation. On July 16th, 1969, history was made when the two astronauts, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, landed on the moon for the very first time. That's the end of my report. However, this is not the end of astronomy history. In the future, who knows what we'll do.